It's been wonderful. You have been a member of TrueCore for a substantial amount of time, on and
Right.
off with travel and work and life and COVID, but back in
And
the
moved
saddle,
back. Right.
I would say what, a full year now again?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because we were gone like 18 to 19. We were gone during that time and then back over. And then, right. So I was at home with Coach T
Yeah.
during COVID.
So
Right.
when we started kind of diving a little deeper, like 7, 8 weeks ago at this point, what were the main things that you were kind of struggling with when it came to health and fitness that you wanted to change?
Sure. So for me, it was that recognition that I can feel and see weight gain. I'm not much of a scale person generally. I mean, I have one, but I'm not on it all that regularly. And I can see it in the mirror. I can feel it when I put my clothes on. For me, it's that recognition that it goes along with being a nearly 49-year-old woman and different changes that are going to come with those hormones, and trying to take stock of the things that I can control and the things that are going to be out of my control.
Yeah.
And not making excuses about what's, quote, out of my control because hormones, right? And so I have seen the 63-day advertisements, right? They scroll through my Facebook page. But for me, what was different is that acknowledgement that I was in that place. And I think I was starting to feel a little bit like you could be more in control of this than you are. Just let's be real about what's happening at this moment. And knowing that I had a bunch of job changing things coming. And so for these 9 weeks, I thought it would be a great test of me working full-time all the time, me working full-time all the time, sometimes with Art home, sometimes with him gone, me going on vacation. And it was like a whole, like everything that happens in your life was going to happen to me in these 9 weeks, and me having more time to myself to dedicate to this when, like, my job at the Naval Academy just ended on Monday. So we're off for the summer, right? Until the fall. So knowing that then I had these last couple weeks where I would have substantially more time for that kind of last push, because for me, it was about learning. It's about that training moment. I kind of feel like I'm there at the six week point. One of the things I said I was looking to change in the future was not counting my calories, right? I don't say that because I don't think it's been useful. It's been super, super helpful. But for me, that is not a habit that I will continue. Yeah. That's a habit that I appreciate, knowing that I'll be able to fall back on it. I feel myself needing those guardrails for a little personal accountability in a different way. If my standard just, hey girl, you ate this for breakfast, maybe I don't eat that for dinner, stops working, my fitness pal is still going to be on the phone.
Yeah.
And so I do appreciate that about it.
For sure. And that's kind of like my goal as well. Like long term, I don't think it's sustainable for anyone in a healthy manner to log everything, to like weigh, measure, and track, just because it becomes somewhat like neurotic. And in my mind, this is just my professional opinion, it changes our relationship with food a little bit too, as more of like something to be cautious about, I guess, instead of looking at it as like, we need this to fuel ourselves and to feel well. But what's good about what you just mentioned is like walking through that for a couple weeks, you now have a solid idea about what that looks like, what that feels like when you're actually full, what that whole system, how it all operates well. So like if you find that you go above or below it, you have a baseline now of like where to stick to, if that makes sense.
Right. Yes. And the numbers and the percentages are helpful for when I encounter, I'm going to call them new foods. Not necessarily new foods, but I've definitely restricted a little bit the things that I've been eating out of, I don't know, self-preservation, of not wanting to continue to make up things. Like I could eat something different for breakfast, but I just want a quick breakfast shake and move on. And I don't want to think about it that hard. So in the future, when I have new things, I may well pull out the app because I'm just curious. I know the Tuscan chicken Instant Pot dish that I make is bad for me. I just want to know how bad. Is this 750 calories bad or 1,400 bad, right? Because I think there's power in knowing that, to say, really, this thing needs to be a side dish for you. It needs to not be 2.5 cups in your bowl,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It should be maybe a cup. You should enjoy it, but it's not the whole plate.
Not the whole plate. Okay, good. Okay. So being a group member with us for a long time, consistently for over a year, how did working in this kind of high accountability program on top of the group help in terms of like we kind of took a deep dive into it? But besides just, of course, the weight loss, which is great, what else did you see happen in your life in general?
Yeah. So for me, I felt like it was very separate from the gym because in our plan, right, I go to the group classes. So that physical component in the gym was not part of this plan that you and I put together for me because I was already doing the WODs. And I liked that a little bit. It's like I felt like I was getting away with something at the gym. Like, I know people. So that was kind of nice, right? To have a nice social connection with Aline that I hadn't had before. That's a good thing. In addition to her just holding me accountable for things. So I thought that was great. In terms of the part in the gym, I would say for me, it's helped substantially at home, right? As of July, I'll have my 3 teenagers for the next 3 years. We're all 3 of them in that crazy period. And so I think for me, I've been a little smart about nutrition, but I have appreciated getting even smarter and having different vocabulary than maybe I was using before to just talk with the kids about it, like be objective. We've always done the don't really talk about your body unless it's about your health kind of thing. It just shown them the norm of what healthy choices and portions look like and how Rita's is okay when it's the season, right? And that's a good thing. But now we don't have it every day, right? Or if we just went yesterday, we're not going to go today. This has helped to talk about, particularly my teens who need to function in a calorie surplus. They're all growing and all of them are athletes in addition to their crazy growth. So to say you see me operating in a calorie deficit for a reason, but for them to understand I'm not always going to live there, that I'm going to live in this sustaining place, and that's different than you need to be in a calorie surplus. And let's just think about, so we list out like, what'd you eat today? The 15-year-old will come out with, I say, David, you've had like 900 calories to eat today. You're 6'1" and 15 years old and a competitive athlete.
Yeah.
Honey, you're hungry. You're desperately hungry. In fact, this is your body saying, please feed me. So on the personal front with the kids, I think it's helped a lot in that way to continue to have a way that we can actually start to talk about food, but I'm big on keeping it objective and neutral. And, you know, when I hear my daughter say, I need to lose weight. She came out with it for the first time. Never heard anybody in my house say this. And we all went, what? What gives you that idea? She said, I'm 20 pounds lighter than Ryan. I said, whoa. I'm getting back to your question, which is to say this. My response to her was very simple. I say, honey, we don't compare our process to anybody else's. This is you, right? This is like my rectangle on the floor.
Excellent.
I'm not competing with Matt next to me. Hello. When I'm picking up the heavy weight, I would never get anywhere that way. So it doesn't matter what Ryan weighs. It matters what calories you're putting in your body, how many calories are going out of your body. I need you to recognize you're 5'5" at 12 years old and a competitive athlete. You need to fuel the machine right now. And we need to figure that out. And I just want to put together for you, you both feel lightheaded when you stand up and you're talking about putting in less food. I'm here to tell you they're related, right? To be able to talk about how to make some changes that she's still comfortable with, but still get the job done. So I, as a parent, am comfortable with the fact that she's not also functioning in calorie deficit. That's not where a 12-year-old in very good physical shape belongs. We got to figure out a different way for that. So it's helped me a lot, I think, on the personal front with the kids as well.
Well, that's huge because at least from a female perspective, I think us young women, I'm not so young anymore, but like young women being teenagers and early 20s, there's just so much mixed messaging out there. Actually, it's not that mixed. It's pretty much like you need to be smaller. And
you should look like
matter.
This.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter what size you are. You still need to be smaller and airbrushed and filtered and all that kind of jazz. So I talk about living by example, Sarah. That's fantastic. It's amazing. Now with our tracker, right? You build in habits
Mhm.
each week, check them off. I know that you love that because you're like me and a little bit.
I'm a box checker. Yes, I know.
So first, how did you find that process? Was it complicated, overwhelming, generally pretty simple?
Mhm. I thought it was clear and very straightforward. I like that during our conversations each week, Aline and I look at that we sort of have we have a little conversation, and we then structure the conversation through the lens of that document. I think it helps focus the conversation so I know what's coming. And for me, it was that accountability piece with that, because for probably the first 3 weeks, I would say I just kind of lived by that, my MyFitnessPal diary. My focus was really on the food. My focus was not particularly on how many times a day am I doing the movement, what are the goals, right? So that form helped me to keep forcing me to look at a bigger picture than just, this is not just about food. This is also right about all of these other pieces. So for me, it was a force function that I needed. Not because I couldn't focus on more than one thing at a time, but as a control freak, that the nutrition tracker was simple. I could always be in charge of that. I had a number, and I could be under it, or I could be at it, or I could understand why I was over it, right, on any given day. The rest of it was a little more difficult for me to get those checks in the boxes, because sometimes just real life happens, and there's a track meet, and we're having dinner at 9:35 at night, and I'm not going to read for an hour before I go to bed, because all the fools in my house are awake, and we all need to go to bed, and we're all going to need help calming down from our crazy, right, to go to bed. So it took at least 4 weeks, I would say a solid month of my life, with Aline telling me every single week that every single box did not have to be checked. That was not the goal, right? And so I think she did a good job adapting and hitting heavy on, see this says like 4 out of 7 is your goal.
Right.
Stop feeling like it's 7 just because there's a box there. Doesn't mean you have to check it. That's not your goal. Don't look at these, look at this column, right? That kind of thing. So that was helpful for me to do. And I got better at operating with a little more grace for myself on that front, particularly when I got COVID. Then that whole week was blown. Then the next week was blown. And now I'm still definitely not back to where I was before at the gym. Like today's workout was a partner one. We had 7 people. He didn't even get the last word out of his mouth before I said, I'll go by myself. Because I don't like to disappoint people. But more so than that, I am trying to regulate just what I need to do in the gym, not what I think I should be doing in the gym, because I was doing it before. My lungs are not ready for that. And so I think this whole process has been helpful for me to continue to reframe how I'm thinking about, to stop thinking about what I think I should be doing and thinking about what I need to be doing given the circumstances of sometimes the moment, not even the day, certainly not the week. Just like today, right now, what do you need to do? In today's workout, I needed to go by myself so I could have 30 seconds of rest in between as a reset and not feel like somebody was waiting on me to do their next thing, because my body was saying, you got to go slower on this run. And I just want to get the run done. And so I didn't want anybody else waiting for me. So I think this whole process has helped me rethink some of that too.
Good. Because like you said, it's, it all depends on the person, right? So like your tracker is not what Bob Smith's tracker looks like. And Bob Smith's tracker isn't what Jane Fonda's tracker looks like.
Right.
And some people need more help with grace for themselves. And some people need more of a kick in the pants. It just depends.
Yeah.
But our goal with every person is the same in terms of that like holistic set of how can we help your body, mind, and spirit work more unified through your day. Now, just to pick out something you said, like reading for an hour before bed is a pretty substantial box for sure.
That's indulgent, doesn't it? Yep.
Like 15 minutes, 20 minutes. No. Sara Gibb gives you an hour.
Yeah. Right. Now, to be fair, it is pleasure for me, but it is also work, right? I'm a writing tutor, right? I get, that is my professional development as well. Like I get better at my job the more I read, right? And I do communications for companies. And so for me, continuing to to put that much reading into my day is also a little bit about professional development, just in fairness to Bob Smith and his tracker and what he's got on it. But that, yeah, if the goal can be lofty, I'm not sure that it's always going to be an hour. At this moment, given my circumstances, it can be. It can be through the summer. It's not likely to be practical in the fall when my work situation changes again.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I would say, like, lastly, what advice would you give to people? Someone that in general is like scared or worried to start with us. They might be intimidated, haven't really worked out. What would you be advice with them with this whole kind of program and getting started with TrueCore?
Mm-hmm. I would say that the program is written so that the person that you are working with at TrueCore can really tailor it to what your needs are. As you say, some people need the boxes to be checked. Some people need a little butt kicking. That there's room for all types of people because of that one-on-one coaching aspect that goes with it. It can be the program that you need. Mm-hmm. Something that I like about it is that you don't put us, I've never been in a group. This truly is an individual program. I facilitate groups for a living too, right? There's great power to be had in the group facilitation process, but this is not that. And for me, I like that aspect of it. It's just me. Mm-hmm. I'm accountable for me. Somebody's helping me just with me. And particularly, how you originally advertised this when I saw it, when I said, I'm a working mom who could do this thing. There's not a lot of just me time. So doing it at all is this massive self-indulgent first step, is how I felt at the beginning. And as you go through the program, I think you feel a little bit more like it's you reaching for your oxygen mask first, to say that if I can do this thing, I can actually be better for all of the people around me, not just for myself. If I can just focus one professional's attention on what my needs are for this program, mm-hmm. and they can help me stick to it, that I will continue to get better in many aspects, not just in the fitness aspect.
Yeah, which is where I have passion. Like, that's what drives real change. Mm-hmm. Now, what would you say to a TrueCore member, a current member that, like yourself, has been part of our group classes for a while right now? What would you say if they're like, I've heard about this, more in depth, like health mentorship deal. I don't really know if I should do it or not. What would your feedback be?
I think you can always get better. And for me, this concept is very much sort of about the growth mindset. There's a new-ish woman. It's her 4th class this morning, who came to 9:30. And she walked right up to Matt. She shook his hand and said, "Hi, I introduced myself this way. I'm Rebecca. I don't know anything. I'm brand new. I'm trying to figure this out. I'm going to ask you 1,000 questions. Thanks for answering them." Right there. She was just right out there. Mm-hmm. And that made me think about him correcting her, and she was looking at us. And what I loved in that gym in that moment was how many different people, not just me, said things like, "Girl, I'm doing this 10 years. He just corrected me. Did you see that, right?" And his correction is helpful because every single lift, every single time, I guarantee I can tell you what I did wrong. And I'm here because I want to keep getting it better. Mm-hmm. And so for me, the idea of a CrossFitter thinking, what can I do next? How can I get better? I think you already have a captive audience of people who believe in a growth mindset, or they wouldn't be there. It is too hard to get right at the beginning. It's not just about getting on a bike and riding for 20 minutes. It's about doing very complicated things and trying to get better at them every time, not just so the weight can be heavier, but so that your thing can get better, right? Mm-hmm. In terms of fitness in the gym goals, I cannot tell you how good it felt to do the burpee box get over. And I had 12.5 pounds less that I had to get over every single time I was going over. It's a difference. This morning I made a point to take a picture of 12.5 pounds on the ground, the plates. I took 100%. Them out. I dropped them on the ground, and I thought, I'm going to do a workout with running today. I'm not carrying this for however far it was, right? Over a mile, I would have been carrying that weight. And so just physically, it makes a difference. I am surely better at doing my CrossFit craft and my fitness craft because I was able to square my nutrition piece away a little more and get a little bit smarter.
Yeah. Love it. Love it. And I'm with you with the growth mindset too. I get bored, I guess, or unsettled if I stay stagnant. Like it's just kind of like I get a little bit like Now it's good to take rest and it's good to appreciate the progress that you've made, and it's good to pause instead of always chasing the next thing.
Great. Look, Aline said to me, I think I didn't really hear her until she said it for the third time. I mean, I heard her. It was that third time, must have been yesterday after the workout, that because we don't see each other a lot in person necessarily, right? And so I walked out and I ripped out a belch, just walked out because I thought the office was empty. She goes, hey, right? She was standing there. We're talking and she asked me the same question again. When it comes to weight loss, she said, where are you going? Right? She said, you look great. I'm just curious. Do you know where you're going? And the first two times I kind of blew off the question, and she said that. And then I went home to do the 6-week check-in, right? Which is, I think, the first time I made a commitment to 155 pounds. And honestly, it's for no particular reason, right? I started at 169. It could be that maybe I'm supposed to be 145 pounds. Maybe I'm supposed to be 160. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I recognize that there's power in the setting of that goal. It's one aspect of this whole thing, right? But I've sort of been ignoring it because I don't know the right answer. So I don't know what it's supposed to be. So what I wanted to commit to is ending the summer at no more than 155 pounds. Right. Because to me, at 157, where I'm standing right now, still very much in this process and doing more sedentary work. Whereas I know in the summer, I'm spending a month doing a job where I have to walk around outside all day, right? Yep. Without a kitchen. That seems like a reasonable place for this first phase of this process. And I very much feel like this is my first phase of this process.
Awesome.
I might stop tracking my food and I might do something different, but it's a thing that I will continue to revisit because I think it feels like this great reset button.
Yep.
That pushed.
Good. That's awesome. That's what I was kind of hoping for you specifically would be. And if you feel kind of stuck again, or like you need kind of accountability check-in, let me know, or Aline know, because we also have more of like ongoing month to month that we can build in with group class.
Yeah.
That's, the price point is much lower because you've already gone through the hardest part of it, right? Yeah. So I think it's important to kind of take ownership for a little bit and see how that feels. Yeah. But if you just you're like, hey, I may not need to check in every week, but like maybe once a month or once every 2 weeks or something like that, we can build that out so that you still have that support, because we do want you to keep moving forward and not kind of regress back.
Sure.
But I'm just wicked proud of you. I think you've done amazing.
Thanks. I
knew you would, because, if I give you a task and then I follow up with you, I know it's going to get done.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you feel like it's been worth it. I'm glad that you've seen so much awesome progress. Anything else to add before we close out today?
I don't think so. I'm looking forward to the last 3 weeks because I'm also that cyclic person. So I like jobs in academia. There's a beginning and there's an end to it. And I like that beginning and the end. And that's not to say I'm looking forward to being over. But as you say, I'm looking forward to taking it as a set of lessons to apply next.
Yep. And take that after picture. Make sure. And if you're comfortable, I would love to see it if you're comfortable, but you don't have to. But the fact that you're already down 12.5 pounds, we still have 3 weeks left, is incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Well, go home, enjoy the rest of your sunshine.
Thanks.
Tuesday. And I really appreciate your time and your feedback, Sarah.
Thanks for doing this, Shannon.
My pleasure. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye. You too. Bye.